Great morning. Oh, we can do better than that. Great morning. On behalf of the administrators, faculty, staff, and students, I welcome you to the beautiful campus of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. To our 57th Attorney General of Arkansas, Mr. Tim Griffin, we welcome you to campus and we thank you for spending time with us today as you advocate for the One Pill Can Kill initiative focused on opioid education and prevention that benefits not only college students at UAPB, but also across the state. Thank you for championing this work. Thank you for caring about our students and our society, and thank you for joining us in Golden Lions country today. We welcome each and every one of you, and we hope that you have a great day. At this time, I'll introduce Mr. Glover, our director of our Health and Wellness Center.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, great day. Thank you, Chancellor Graham, for that introduction. And I have the pleasure of introducing our 57th Attorney General, Mr. Tim Graham. Okay, all right. So Tim Griffin is the 57th Attorney General of Arkansas and previously served as the state's 20th Lieutenant Governor from 2015 to 2023. From 2011 to 2015, Griffin served as the 24th representative of Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District. He is currently an officer in the Arkansas National Guard and holds the rank of colonel. Attorney General Griffin served as an officer in the U.S. Army Reserve Judge Advocate General's JAG Corps for more than 28 years. Last fall, Attorney General Griffin launched the One Pill Can Kill initiative on college campuses in Arkansas as a way to educate college students about the dangers of fentanyl and other opioids. Attorney General Griffin, thank you for being here today and for bringing this important initiative to our campus. So at this time, we'll have Attorney General Tim Griffin.
Army strong. I'm going to try to get the Army to change the JAG Corps to the Lions. All right? Woo, I just thought of that. I was looking at that line and I go, that's not a Jag. It's the right colors, but that big mane gave it away. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it. Last time I was in this room, or maybe it was the room next door, I think it was this room, we were talking about STEM for young ladies. That was some time ago, before the Chancellor was here. But so this is a great initiative that is going to have an impact beyond the doors of and the campus of UAPB. And that's because the press is carrying the message beyond. I want to thank you, Chancellor, and we've got some vice chancellors here and others welcoming me and my team here. So this is the third educational institution that we've announced, where we've announced this initiative. We started in Fayetteville at the University of Arkansas, your sister school, and then we were in Little Rock at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, and now we are here. We intend to take this message, this initiative, in all the different parts that come with it, the training, the press component, the communication component, the signs, the aware, all the different public affairs components that we're using to raise awareness, vending machines, which we'll talk about in a minute. We're taking that all over the state to all the 4-year institutions and all the 2-year institutions. So let me back up a little bit and talk a little bit about how we got here and why we are here today. So the how we got here. So this country went through a really horrible period where prescription opioids were killing Americans all over the country. Overprescribed, people who were addicted, There was a lack of education in some quarters, and people still struggle with prescription drug opioids. They play a role in medicine, but they are very addictive and very dangerous. I know about this personally. My brother passed away in March from opioid addiction. He had had a back surgery that went terribly, terribly wrong, and he ended up in excruciating pain. He used to talk about his back felt like 1,000 wasps were stinging him at one time. And he got addicted to opioids, and he passed away in March. We as a country, through better education, through lawsuits, through training, all sorts of ways, have had to come to grips with the prescription drug opioid issue. And we've done a better job as a nation coming to grips with that, understanding that, in dealing with that. But guess what? As we started to get that better under control on the prescription side, there was still a demand, and those prescription opioids that used to be easier to get were now harder to get, and so there was less supply. And criminals all around the world, criminals have filled that void with now illicit opioids. I was talking about prescription opioids, which are deadly, but now we're talking illicit opioids, meaning they're not manufactured in a clean plant where prescription drugs are manufactured. They're not necessarily what they look like. They're not necessarily what's on what the label says. They're illicit. They're made wherever, by whomever, with whatever, and you have no idea what's in it. So in some ways, we went from an addiction problem where the drug was the known quantity. It was dangerous, but you knew if it said oxycodone from a prescription drug producing manufacturer company, you knew it's dangerous, could be, but you knew what it was because it was from a legitimate manufacturer. Now we've got an even bigger problem because you don't even know what you're taking. Hence, one pill can kill. Literally. You don't even, it's not a known quantity anymore when you hold the pill. Because whatever it looks like may or may not be what it is. Wherever you think it was made, may or may not have been made there. So who's doing this now? Well, criminals, because there's a need, there's a demand, and the supply on the prescription drugs went down. More difficult in some ways to get. Tighter controls on overprescribing. More education among healthcare providers about the dangers of that. Even my brother, who was initially, after his surgery, given all these prescription opioids, I got him to a pain management doctor that says, look, you're still going to need opioids for the most serious pain, but we're going to have a sliding scale of some non-opioid options. That's all prescription drug stuff. He knew what those pills were. Now we've got China. This is all well documented. China is shipping the ingredients to south of the border, Mexico, where illicit opioids are being produced. It's really hard to call them manufactured because they're sort of just making them wherever they can make them. Pots and pans and wherever else they're making them. And they're using just about anything they can. And in fact, now they are putting fentanyl in with cocaine and all sorts of other drugs, because whatever they're selling, they want to make it that much more addictive, which makes it that much more deadly. So this is a crisis, and it's really urgent, because in the old reality, when you looked at a prescription drug pill, you could look at it and say, I know what this is. I know what the risk is. Now, you have no idea. If you're at a party, someone hands you a pill, you have no idea they've had a few drinks, maybe they've done this, maybe they've done this, says here's a pill, they take the pill, they die. They take the pill, they don't die, they take the next pill, they die. It's that simple, folks. And so we got to get a grip, and we do that by attacking the problem in 3 primary areas. Okay? So I am blessed in my office to have resources, financial resources, that are flowing in from the national opioid settlement, okay, with manufacturers and some pharmacy companies and others, and Arkansas is getting a share of that. And we are able to use that in accordance with the settlement, which is for opioid abatement. That is the terminology, for opioid abatement. So we can use this on a number of fronts, specifically the 3 I mentioned. Because most folks, thank the Lord, don't want to die. And if they knew they'd take that one pill, they might, maybe they wouldn't take that pill. And that's our focus, right? That's primary awareness. They've made the wrong. That's what I call treatment or recovery. Okay? That's the second. We hope they never have to get to the second, because we want to stop it. But some people make bad decisions, and we want to help with treatment. So we're using funds to help in that regard, to help with treatment facilities in Little Rock and Fort Smith and all over the country, all over the state. And so we use that in that middle category. Now part of what and you may need that Narcan to save their life. If one pill can kill, one Narcan sometimes can save. So that's that middle category. And then the third category is law enforcement. We have money to help on the prosecution investigation, go to prison. Side of run parades with me. His dad is still a friend. And he, fraternity, young, energetic, attractive, intelligent, got addicted, ended up dying of an overdose. And if you saw pictures of him, you'd say, man, that's the most clean-cut, law-abiding looking kid. He was a great kid. Made a mistake. And it killed him.